are basically the attacks with that are of high profile with infinite number of resources. So these attacks typically can disrupt or cripple any organization that's facing these attacks. So these kind of attacks, what we typically do is analyze the entire security posture of an organization, and we implement zero trust, and which is a proactive security, and we also implement a SOC, which is a completely reactive uh, approach. So these approaches will make us understand what's going on in the infrastructure, as well as a continuous assessment of their infrastructure, like a constant breach attack simulation and constant vulnerability assessment. And these are the few things that we constantly do to get a live update on what's happening, like on a hourly basis or day-to-day basis of where they are and where.
So since it's a paradigm shift, the quantum of changes that brings is a challenge for most of the people, and people get overwhelmed. Right? That's where I think, as per me, again, is you need to stick to your basics, and you need to keep the basics right, because on your foundation, the entire house would be built. Right? If your foundation and basics are not properly kind of devised and made, then it will not go through, it won't be successful. And the next is, it needs to have, for example, in our case, when we do our security framework, it needs to have the blessings of our CEO, which is Vishnu, right? So top management blessings and agreement is mandatorily important, kind of, so that we come up with frameworks, we do things which will help us prevent attacks that happen any day. And what do we do after we get attacked, right? Because see, again, a quote which is there in the net is, with time and money, you can even breach Fort Knox, right? Because Fort Knox typically is considered to be highly secure, both in terms of physically, but also in terms of IT. But people say with time and money, you can breach that. Now, if that is the level of conviction that people bring to the table, then we are nowhere, right? So unless you have the willingness, your management support, and you take basic steps right, you would be continued to get breached, and all those unholy things would happen. And the funny part is, at times, we don't even know that all those things have happened, right? So we don't even take steps that you typically should take or should have taken. So it's a very different, complex, and difficult.
More and more devices are getting onboarded to the live online network. Like earlier, it was just one PC for entire family. Now it's like 3-4 connected devices per person, which is significantly high. And definitely now, almost even from us to from our grandparents, everyone is using multiple social media platforms, multiple things, and everything. So here, what's happening is the digitization is happening fast, but the awareness, security awareness, is something that's not at all penetrating in the market. So there is a huge gap that's been formed across the world. So at least for current generation, maybe the youngsters, they might know what is social media attacks. Maybe not many, but few. But what about the generations of parents' generation and grandparents' generation? They are not at all aware of what is a social media attack or what is OTP. There are so cyber banking frauds. There are so many like phishing links. These are some things that are happening to mostly the elder generation. That's something that even attackers are trying to target, because that's where the target is becoming easy. So when more and more devices are coming online and being uh, digitized, so there are certain things I feel like one is security awareness should be addressed, And second thing is there should be strong reforms from the government as well, like whatever the bill that government has recently passed, the data protection bill. These are some things that will help, maybe might not help as much as stopping an attack, but help at least protecting the data of these citizens across. So security awareness and more reforms from government, and definitely the amount of data that's been exfiltrated in government servers is very high. 2 years ago, there was a data breach, and almost one plus billion other data has been leaked. So that's again alarming. So again, definitely there should be some. I feel like a huge uh, implementation of security is needed in terms of protecting uh, private systems and government systems as well. So these are the three things that I feel that should happen since more and more digitization.
Going back, people now, even now, despite all of that that has happened, and we see more and more attacks, we see more and more ransomware attacks, more and more denial of service attacks that are happening, and it's getting more complex by the day. It's not like someone comes and defaces your website and goes away, right? So even despite of that, people still feel that cybersecurity and IT security is an ornament, right? It will make you look good after you do your basic data center. You revamp your employees with fancy looking desktops and laptops. Kind of, after that, after ERP implementation is done, then you go for security. No. So please change your mindset, because unless you do that, things would happen, and then you will not even know that you have been attacked and your walls have been breached, right? So one is that your entire mentality should be changed, and to help that, typically, principles like zero trust and so many other things come into action, which kind of gives you direction. It shows you a path about what to do and how to do, right? Next is, I think, from the government, there should be strict enforcements and penalties set for not only government and government bodies and public sector entities, even for corporates. Like you have Sarbanes-Oxley, right? So that means if you are based in US or even you are doing business in US, you have to follow Sarbanes-Oxley, which is called SOX. So many such compliance have to be strictly reinforced, and if there are people who are not following it, by people I mean corporates or anyone or any bodies who are not following it, they have to be severely penalized. Like we have SEBI clause 49. SEBI clause 49 need to have more inputs on cybersecurity and security, which is, say, if you come to know you have been breached, I think the norm is within 6 hours or something, you have to go and you have to report it to certain, and you have to report it to agencies, right? Why 6 hours? If I know, so if Vishnu knows that yes, ParadigmIT has been breached, it is his job and responsibility to immediately pick up the phone or send an email. Why wait for 6 hours, right? Because the trick here is, as I said, with time and money, you can breach anything. So if it is as simple as that, then we have to assume that yes, we will get breached. Like, as I said, the three principles of zero trust, you assume that breach has happened. So the question is, what do you do after you get breached? It's like when you learn how to ride a bicycle, you would fall. Now, do you continue crying and go to a doctor and forget bicycling altogether? No. You again pick up the cycle and try to ride. So how fast you do, how you do, is again the framework and the path would be shown to you, but you have to do it yourself. So it's a change of mentality, it's a change of mindset, and it should be top down.
First step towards security is to understand where do you stand today as an organization, as an entity. Like what we do is typically do an initial gap assessment, which will let the people know like what are the current standards in the market, what are the current practices that are followed, and where do you stand as a part of that. And second thing is what we do is do an initial vulnerability assessment that helps us understand like what are the existing vulnerabilities that are relying in their current infrastructure. Third thing, understand the network, understand the organization, and their criticality. Like uh, if suppose there is a huge organization that's their nature of work is extreme secrecy and extreme sophisticated network and sophisticated uh, day-to-day tasks, then what we say is then just implement zero trust where you can't go wrong anywhere. You can't be breached. You shouldn't be. Uh, Anyone should not access your network. Anyone should not penetrate your network. So we immediately suggest them zero trust. That's where their complete day-to-day task will be taken care of in terms of security. And parallelly, what do we also suggest is have a complete uh, moni- monitoring of their entire network, not only in terms of machines, but also in terms of their mobile phones, their any digital equipment that they bring to the office premises. So that's something that we also kind of monitor, so that nowadays you know that maybe your laptop is safe, but some we do some conversation here and there. The business conversation will happen through WhatsApp. So no matter how secure your endpoints, how secure your machines are, if your phone is compromised, if you're talking some critical information in your WhatsApp or some other thing, some other medium through your phone, then that's a compromise. So each and every part of that, uh, each and every network endpoint should be monitored. So that's one way. Again, there are a couple of other things to add, like maybe physical security, like no one should have access to server room. These are some compliances that an organization should follow, security compliances, and they should. These are some good practices for an organization to establish a good security model. So, to you, Rajat.
And revamps in IT world is happening, right? And more we are giving access to our people that okay, you can have a hybrid working style, you can work from home, you come to office for say 2 or 3 days a week. When you are in office, I give you access to internet, so while you are working you get bored, you go to your social media and post stuff, right? So since things are so open and I'm giving access, I'm also allowing people to bring their own devices, and they are bringing their own devices. I don't know what is the state of that device, and that device is getting connected in our inside the office Wi-Fi network or wired network, and maybe accessing certain non-critical databases, maybe accessing email. But then typically what it happens is I bring something which is highly insecure, unmonitored, and then I bring it to my network, which is covered by perimeter security and IPS and so many other things, right? So that means what? Something which is unholy and unmonitored now gets encapsulated and maybe is transacting using our network, maybe our VPN, to some other offices. So something which is unmonitored and maybe poses a security risk is now getting covered inside my office, and I am encapsulating it with all my security features, and then probably that is promulgating throughout the organization, which I don't know what happens. And these are the reasons why every now and then you get to hear that there is a breach that happened. One of the largest hospitals got attacked, right? There was also a rumor that one of the platforms that was used during the time of COVID uh, got breached, right? So that means on one hand, government is saying, no, 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 digital. So no more physical money, you have to have UPI and digital money. If you don't have a strategy to kind of protect that, Just imagine the kind of, so you are basically giving weapons in the hands of your enemies. So it's high time, my request and my humble submission to everyone who would be listening to this podcast or going through this session is, please change the way that you think, because it is also, it's not only important that okay, you need to have a strategy, result is there in front of you. People who have not thought, even their employees had DDoS attack. What do? You come to your office and you can't access to your resources, and then there is a sweet email which says, okay, give me so many thousands of Bitcoin and I'll let you go. What do? So it's of extreme importance. It's a kind of, as I said, it's a paradigm shift in mindset that needs to happen, and driven from the top with a clear defined strategy, and goals like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, next year plan, 5 years plan, 10 years plan about how you would tackle your security challenges and what your security infrastructure would be.
I could see still many organizations using uh, old operating systems, and they are not up to date with the current standards. So many organizations still using Windows 7, which is right now out of date, and there is no more support from Microsoft. Like similarly, security patches are something that they constantly neglect. But I think security updating your latest security patches, updating your there are constant vulnerabilities within applications. Updating your day-to-day use day-to-day applications that you use, you should make sure that they are up to date. And parallelly, second thing that I want to suggest is just have an initial uh, endpoint protection solution in place. Uh, I know, like we do have in Windows, we have Windows Defender, but definitely one professional endpoint protections service will be a great start, uh, a great first step for any organization. So choosing that will be one tough task, because there are so many options. But I believe if you can choose the right one for your organization, I think
Push people like us to make it simple and to keep it simple. Like, look at zero trust. Every company is defining zero trust to their own advantage. I saw, today morning only, before this interview, I was just going through browsing the net. One company says I have 6 principles of zero trust. The other company says I have 9 principles of zero trust. Basically saying the same thing, yeah, that you trust no one. It's a least privilege. Do not trust one. Always verify. And few companies say that you assume that you have been breached. Like, people are silent on it. So my request and what I expect people is to question vendors like us and salespeople like us to push us to the corner and say, okay, explain the basics to me, please. What is it supposed to do? Why should I do it? And how would it take care, say, even 2 years or 3 years from now? It should not be that, okay, I take care of it for with a span of say 6 months or 1 year. No, because I'm spending money and there are resources that are getting deployed, right? That should be one. The other important thing, and which kind of supports its argument, is everyone, even the neutral bodies and the consultants throughout, are saying that the greatest problem that we face in cybersecurity world is the lack of resources and skills. Right? There are millions and millions of positions which are even vacant. People who are taking care of this specialized field maybe don't even know anything. They were IT manager and managing, say, hardware or doing ERP. They have been entrusted with it and made the CISO of the organization. Right? Please don't do it. And if you have become the CISO, please upgrade your skills and know-how. And that's where we come in, because it's not only the endpoint security that we provide. It is not only the SOC, as Vishnu was saying, that we do, which is like monitoring your security 24/7. We also have a group company which provides consultancy and skilling. Typically, companies like us who are just embarking on their journey, or say companies whose mindset, say, if I'm making steel, right, that's my priority, and or if I'm running a company that has aeroplanes to fly, that's my core business. This is not my core business. At least that's how people kind of think. That's how the CEOs and the top management think. Now, to them, this is an expense, because their question or the CFO's question would be, okay, you want to buy certain products, or you want to get into services for security, cyber security, which is again a specialized version of security, IT security. What would be the return, right? Typically, a CFO conversation, I am spending X amount of money. What would be the return? 10%, 20%? Then the CISO has no answer, because there may not be any return, right? But it's something like, do I, so right now our squadron strength is 32, we have to be 42. Now Narendra Modi might be honorable prime minister might be asking a question to honorable defense minister, saying that, why should I buy more aeroplanes? Are you going into war? He will say no. So it's for my own defense. Now, why should I invest in defense? Rather than that, I should have a common minimum program on eradicating tuberculosis, right, throughout the country. That would be the obvious questions. So that mindset need to be changed. And obviously, infinite resources will definitely not be. So it is not given to IT. Why would it be given to cybersecurity? Now that's where companies like us, we come in, and not only us, there are a lot of people, as I said, our brethren. So what we say is, we make it easy for you to implement and adopt this. How? Don't spend money now. Get into a revenue kind of OPEX rather than doing an CAPEX. Right? What would be the advantage? Technological obsolescence. You safeguard against that. So you buy a product, it might go out of life in 2 years. It might get out of life if there is a fantastic new virus that gets propagated, or a ransomware, whatever. I don't know those terms. Vishnu can come in, which comes in and is kind of threatening the entire civilization. Then even that product has to be changed. So the operating system has to be upgraded. So technological obsolescence is a huge concern when you buy equipment, right? The company that you are buying it from might go bankrupt, right? We have seen some fantastic companies which couldn't sustain their business. Nortel, as an example, Sun Microsystem, as an example, which got acquired, which got sold. Nortel got broken up and then got sold. So unfortunate, right? So what do? Get into an OPEX model with a provider so that it is his responsibility, right? So we offer SOC, as Vishnu was saying. Now, SOC is nothing. You don't invest upfront, and we can change the deliverables as per your needs. So the basic idea is, I give you guarantee. My neck is on fire, right? And I sign an SLA with you that I will take care of this features, and you pay me by the month, or you pay me by the quarter. Number one. Number two, it is very difficult to kind of train your people within a month and say, okay, my entire IT team is now equipped. It cannot happen. Get real, guys. But there has to be a path. Now the question is, who do you touch base with? Touch base with me, because I am giving you the SOC services. I am selling you software endpoints to take care of your IT security. I will train you from the basics to any specialized scale that you want me to scale. Even on third-party software that you are buying or using, even on certain ERPs that you have deployed across your organization, right? So these two will help you in your journey that you have to embark on to changing your cybersecurity posture, your framework, and your mentality above all, to take care of you not only now.
In like importance angle, like suppose you are a company, no matter what size you are, how important is cybersecurity to you for individual? I know the big companies, they understand their importance really well. Not all big companies, but some big companies. That's where they put certain percentage of their resources for dedicated team or dedicated solutions. Suppose similarly, If you take a very small company of maybe or 10 systems, maybe 10 people are working in that company. If they still think that cybersecurity is important, they don't need to buy the similar solution what the big company is getting, or they don't need to have a dedicated resource. But there are so many dedicated policies, strategies, structure that they can follow because they feel that that is important for them. That's in the terms of that angle. The major disparity, the major shift is happening is because people right now, cybersecurity is a term that everyone might have heard today, but they are not facing any problem as of now. And they are not considering it as the most important aspect in their business life. Day to day, maybe if you are a small developer company, your day to day tasks are running really well. There is nothing impacting you as of now. Why do you want to just take that extra step to implement security? Because it's nothing is affecting you so far today. That's a typical mindset that is running around, is what I see. But once they if they give the importance, the that okay, something's happening outside, something security is something that's really important for my organization. I need to protect my data. I need to protect my work that I have done so far. That same organization can take a different angle, different step. They can be either on the left side of the bar or the right side of the bar. Left side being we are secure, we are 100% secure. Right side being we don't care about security. So same organization can have two steps, either left or right, based upon the priority that they give to cybersecurity. So that's where I feel the divide is there. That's where so many things, so many companies not even. I mean, like I could see people what is cybersecurity. Some questions are being asked such a way that I felt like there is no security awareness that's been there in the industry. So government, I mean, maybe there are so many news that you hear about this company being attacked. There was a huge incident. They were here, but for a regular common reader, I don't think he understands what is happening there. Something happened. Some systems have stopped working. Some money has been lost. That's the only thing that he sees. But what's exactly happening? Maybe he might hear the term attack, hacker, and all. But for a regular common person, it's really tough to understand what's happening in the industry of cybersecurity. So that's where awareness should come in. That's where, yeah, I feel like it should be a initiative from government to spread that awareness and to bring more people from neglecting to more people giving that importance. That's where we can solve the huge disparity of this cybersecurity. Glad to see that it's a one big step, one huge step from the government, and I could see that whatever the things that have done in the bill, like the act. So companies should report to the board as soon as they are getting they are attacked. And any companies with platforms, if there is a one or two data breaches, their platform will be banned, which is a serious step that government is pushing. And there are some huge penalties. So this will force all the companies in India to enhance their cybersecurity capabilities. At least take one step earlier. The earlier discussion I was saying, government should do something to bring people from here to here. I think this is one of the form to make the transformation. So one of the thing is definitely government has done better is there is a huge data being exposed, huge data being not considered like earlier, like the any uh, data like child data, like it's not been taken consent from parents. Now with this bill, now every parent has to consent if they want to the companies want to use their child data. So many applications, suppose there are so many applications that are dedicated to children, but they use the data to uh, for many purposes. That's where parents can come in and they can consider whether they want or not. And Data Storage Act is also something that's been pushed this time. Like companies can't retain the data for a longer duration, so they have to delete, which is something that happened in GDPR as well. So these are the few good steps that I felt like, okay, this is one huge leap for us in terms of data protection.
To see is this getting strictly enforced. Any deviation, any variance, or any non-compliance have to be penalized. Uh, without mentioning any words, have to be penalized, and at times penalized severely. Okay. Now, the other day I was talking to my personal banking officer, and that person said that even biometric got hacked, which was linked to your Aadhaar. So it's a scary world, right? But then thanks to Government of India initiative, if you download Aadhaar in DigiLocker, it by default it comes as must, right? And they made it mandatory that this would be accepted by anyone. Earlier, what used to happen is that you saw that in airport, CISF used to catch you. No, 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 nahi mante hain, jao sir. Show your hard copy Aadhaar. Now, these days, what I'm doing is I'm only sharing that DigiLocker copy of the Aadhaar and I'm showing the screenshot. You accept, you don't accept. If you don't accept, I'll immediately report. Right? So that means what government is doing, government has facilitated something which is very good, very beneficial for the student, so for the citizens. But they are also saying that it is a mandate that you have to accept it. So the enforcement part is also very, very important, right? And that's the reason I said, make more enabling features in SEBI clause 49. Make this act absolutely, if you don't follow, if there are any penalties or anything, you will be severely penalized if there are any anomaly or any non-compliance. And severely means severely. Like the way that people don't even know that they have been hacked, and there are so many instances. And then I know of a place, I'll not name them. They got letters from Delhi through the police department that something unholy is happening in your network. People are there are some packets getting exchanged with China. First of all, they didn't even know. Next is, have you done anything to take care of those? No. Now, so if it has happened in the past, it will happen in the future also. Now, then the next time the people actually has to take care of their IT manager or their CISO and take them to police custody. Yeah? Because we have warned you, you have not done anything, you are sitting on it. Now you place the penalty. So everything has to be ensured. Let's get real. If you don't, more would happen. It's a happy-go-lucky kind of country club culture.
Easy for you to stay consistent in keeping your health happy and peaceful every day. And if you are not consistent on that, one day something, it might be getting some problem, health issue, then everything will collapse. So it's better to implement daily things like good habits, daily, every day consistently is greater than, okay, something happened to me today, then I should start focusing on putting my health as a priority is something. Those are the two different mindsets. So that's where the security is also similar. Like if you don't care today, once entire organization goes down, and you will face the consequences. What is the point of implementing some security strategies then? Because you lost everything now. What is the point of doing that? So better than that, I feel if you just focus, if you make the things, cybersecurity is one of the priority for almost each and every government across the world, each and every entity, each and every person now. So it's really important for everyone to take this point seriously, and at least not many organizations have big budgets, but if it's possible, just comply with what government says, comply with what a standard says, so that at least in future, if something happened, the attack will be minimized rather than disruptive or destructive.
My request is please call us. We are open to do POCs for you. That is proof of concept. We are open to do presentations. We are open to take you through our products, because see, it's